Hey there, it is Tomster here on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again with another Scum build video. Now, the scenery has changed somewhat. At this point, I am running out of time over here in England, and yeah, that also means that moving on to finishing and oiling this thing before I leave, I had to take the guitar home for the weekend. So, during that weekend, I will be oiling this. Wow, that sentence went nowhere very quickly. Anywho, first things first, I sand away the sort of faux binding effect. I'm also realizing that doing air quotes doesn't really work when you're doing commentary, but you get the idea. So I'm just using a piece of 320 here to sand away that edge, to give it a nice little bit of a round over, and exposing the edge of the veneer top. Now the part that I was dreading. Oh, there we go. Satisfied to see that there's absolutely no stain having leaked through, seeped through at all onto the back inlay. Everything looks very clean. Would have been a different case had I not burnished down the masking tape, for damn sure. Now, I do have to say that it really sucks that, because one of my favorite things about putting on finish on any wood is the fact that it looks so gorgeous. The initial application looks so good, and filming in my little bedroom here, I couldn't get proper lighting, so you can't really get the proper effect. I'm sorry for that. I did what I could. So first things first, I am going to oil only the back inlay. This is just because, well, this is more a precaution more than anything else. Because if I oil the back inlay, that means that it's already somewhat protected, so that if the stain starts to move at all, when I start applying the oil on the rest of the guitar, it will not stick to this surface anymore, which would really be kind of bad. So yeah, just oiling the inlay for now. The initial coat of oil you can always put on plenty, because it is going to seep through quite a bit. And then I just go ahead and I buff what I just oiled. So take away all the excess oil and buff it away. Now, when oiling something that's stained, you don't need to change the method in which you do it. You can oil it just the same, but you will have some residue coming off. It will happen. Just a little bit of the pigment will come off onto your rag, but if you've done your stain job properly, you shouldn't have too big of an issue there. I probably didn't need to worry about the back inlay, but because I spent a lot of time on it, of course I wanted to be really sure that I didn't screw it up. So once again, just applying a lot of oil and letting it soak in. I'm going to be showing you pretty much the first coat of oil. I'm going to apply as many coats as I can during the weekend, or I did apply as many coats as I could. I can't remember how many that was, but over the course of the weekend I did as many as I could. And the initial coat is a lot at first, and then it's just followed by light coats afterwards. And after every application, I just use a dry rag to take away all the excess and buff up the surface. I'm just using the Crimson Guitars guitar finishing oil for this, which really penetrates very well and builds up very well too. I had done a couple of test pieces beforehand to send pictures to the customer about, and this was indeed the method that he deemed worthy, and the amount of layers as well, and so on. Very important that if you do test pieces that you have the same woods that you're going to be working with sanded exactly the same way as the main thing that you're going to be doing, and then only then putting on the finish and applying the finish as well in the exact same way that you would on the actual piece. But yeah, it's very awkward trying to work on top of your bed. It's not exactly ideal ergonomic working position, but you really just gotta work with what you got. I usually do oiling in 3 different passes, or actually I do oiling in excuse me. So I usually do oiling in 4 different passes: the front, then the sides, the back, and the neck. You can oil the whole thing, but I just found this to be the most efficient way for me, because then you have more control over how much time there is in between applying and removing all the excess. Because if you let the oil stay on there for longer, it will start to harden. Well, not harden, but it will get very sticky very quick, and then it's just more work to try and buff it down or buff it up. Now, this is late Sunday night after applying as many layers of oil as I could over the course of the weekend. Now it's time to apply some Renaissance wax for the final shebang, final finish. So this is the best lighting I can get. I'm literally under the light in my room trying to do this video, but you really can't see anything, and I'm very sorry about that. I did what I could. Anywho, once again, using just a paper towel to grab some of that wax and spread it all over the guitar, buffing it up as I go. So with wax, I'm literally buffing it up as I'm applying it, really rubbing it into the wood. You can use a lot of elbow grease in this too, and the more you do it, the more it seeps in, the more you buff it up, the nice and glossier it will get. You kind of start to see that coming through now.
much exactly the same process as you would with the oil. Apply and take away all the excess and buff it up. Now here's where you can start to see how shiny you can get the wax. The neck there wasn't all that shiny, and very quickly you start to see some of that shine come through with the wax. Of course, in better lighting, this would look even better. And also this goes to prove, you don't need a nice fancy workshop in order to do this at home. This is something that you can easily do at home. Just be sure to actually get rid of the rags safely. So basically keep them wet, preferably in a wet container if you can, and dispose of them in that manner. Because although it's a small percentage, it's still somewhat likely for it to combust on its own, and that would be very, very bad. And then finally the backplate. Anywho, this video is about to this video is about to end, so I'm gonna leave you guys now for now, and thank you very much for watching this somewhat different episode. Hope to see you guys next week. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to see more, and yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.